All right, so welcome to our State of the Company meeting. This one's the annual edition, so um, I guess it's more important. But for Amanda and TJ and Katie, because I don't think you've attended one of these either, right?
Like I've unofficially attended
Right.
at home.
And also
And
for Brian, who might be watching the recording. Basically, it's just an opportunity to give everyone an update of like what we did over the last year and kind of like it's easy to forget all of the things that we did. And in fact, even when I did a roundup for Broadstreet, I did a letter to our customers at the end of the year, and I missed so much because I did a lot more. I took a lot more effort into researching what exactly transpired over 2023, and it's nuts. So it's an opportunity to talk about like where we came from, where we are today, and where we're going to go as a company. And that's really the whole point of it. So it's not nearly as lofty or as important as the traditional State of the Union, but you can see I do like there's a certain aesthetic and a certain like way I think about things, and that's kind of embedded in the design here. Marge put this together last year. I think we're going to work on it and work on continuing to make these state of the companies like better and better and better over time. So anyway, let's kind of pick up where we left off last year. And this was kind of a theme throughout last year, this idea of like more perfect, right? In the Declaration of Independence, or I think it's the Constitution, it talks about this idea of like a more perfect union. And you can't say perfect because obviously it's kind of unachievable. It's more of an ideal, but getting better and better and better and better. And that's what more perfect is. I have this like, fundamental belief that like basically the best in all of us, either as an individuals or the world around us, like the best thing it can be, all of the beauty and all of the greatness is like inside of it, right? The best person that you can possibly be is already there. And that a lot of times it's actually by subtraction, removing like some of the habits we pick up in the early days that we kind of like the best version of that emerges. And it was this theme that just kept recurring throughout last year. And by the way, I know I can get philosophical and I can get idealistic, and this state of the company will not in any way be a departure from that. So 100% we're going to keep on that train. So I talked about this like this block of granite, right? This is the way Michelangelo he would like take a look at it and he would say like he would see something within it. It could be like La Pieta, the famous carving here. So he kind of took that last thing and turned it into this, and he believed that this form was within it. He could see it before he even started working on it. And how did he get this out of that? What did he do with this? Did with a chisel, right? And what's interesting about a chisel is that like you have this big block of granite that like you think about it, it'd be really hard to break apart, but with the power, right, the tap of the hammer, the force that goes into it, into this fine little point, this focused point, he was able to break off big chunks and eventually very small chunks, and then really refine and polish. And he arrived at this. And I think like, I think there's metaphors for a lot of the things that we can put to good use in the world around us, and this is one of them. Focus, turning this kind of like shapeless thing into something that's great. It's beautiful. That's how you do it. So let's just take a quick look, and I'm going to give you almost the long version of Broadstreet's past. It's not going to be like just 2024. I'm going to give you like throughout our history, because Amanda, I don't think you've seen this. TJ hasn't seen it. Brian hasn't seen it. And well, Katie's heard nothing but that for however many years. But it all started, and every time I tell this story, it gets more embellished. And in fact, Brian is off shooting video with Stu today, right, to tell the story of Red Bank Green. But a long time ago, there's this guy, and he's still around, Stu, and he ran Monmouth Meats, which is a deli in Red Bank, New Jersey. And he was an advertiser with Red Bank Green, the publisher, the original publisher being John Ward. Red Bank Green was a team between Trish and John Ward, and Stu was an advertiser for 5 years up until 2012. So 2007 to 2012, Stu was an advertiser. And one day, John Ward goes in for renewal. Hey, Stu, you up for another few months? And Stu says, nah. He's like, I've been posting my lunch specials to Facebook. I think that's really all I need. And John Ward went and checked Stu's Facebook, and it looked like this. barbecue ribs, slaw, mac and cheese, something like that. And so Stu was in fact posting those lunch specials on Facebook, and it seemed like that was maybe all he needed because we was getting likes on it and people were seeing it. And honestly, it was probably doing a better job advertising what Stu was doing than John's ad on Red Bank Green. So John came to me and John Crepesi. So you guys met John Crepesi on the left. There's me. Me and John Crepesi. We're talking to John Ward. John Ward was like, said, "Is there any way that you can take Stu's lunch special on Facebook and you can bring it into his ad on Red Bank Green?" And me and John Crepesi being developers said, "Yeah, like totally." So we put this thing together. And what's interesting about this is like Stu loved it. Stu stayed on board for another year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. In fact, to this day, Stu is still a paying client. And in fact, this is the ad that Stu is running today. It really is. So this is, I think he posted this in anticipation of working with Ryan. So we got this bright idea to start a company, and having started 3 companies that failed and went nowhere, I was like, let's do it again. So, you've heard about starting companies in basements. This was the basement. And I'm pretty sure it's actually the worst basement that most companies get started in. This is our dingy basement. It looks a little bit better now in Red Bank. And this is where I worked that summer. You guys remember Gangnam Style? Yeah, that song was super hot, and they were playing on these speakers. So Gangnam Style, and then like Starships. Was that Katy Perry or somebody? Anyway, so just imagine that. Anyway, so from this table, we built more of Broadstreet, and I cold called our first customers, Howard Owens at the Batavian, Uriah Kaiser. These are all still customers, by the way. I called Jay Center at PB Post. I read a book called The Best Possible Sales, or The Best Damn Sales Book. And I was like, well, I can cold call now. And I called up, and it was just the most embarrassing, worst performance ever. But I think they were so endeared by this, like, and I don't know, just complete idiot calling them, that they felt bad, and they were like, okay, I'll use it. So me and Katie actually ended up going on a road trip that summer, all around the Northeast, and then we went through the South, and we met some customers, one of them being Howard the Batavian, and then we spent the only $2,000 we had in our bank account. I had $2,000 in the Broadstreet bank account, and we emptied it on a conference sponsorship. The only sponsor of this conference, Block by Block, this is me and Capezzi. After, like, we were out till like 3 a.m. Having beers at this place called the Blue Frog in Chicago, and doing karaoke, and that's the dumbest idea ever. Then we had to show up the next day, do this, and give a presentation. But look at when you're 25 or whatever, how you can bounce back after a night like that. It's incredible. So anyway, and then this is Marty. This is the real thing that's still in my office today. So we put up a website. This actually is the second website. It was even worse before. And we got our first check. This is Broadstreet's first check. I still have it somewhere. So Kenny, thanks again for reaching out to us, and really excited about it. And this is, I guess, August 2012. Moving on up, this is our first actual office. This is the one that Steve interned at, so he remembers this. And that was at 141 West Front Street, so at least we had a real office in Red Bank. We started winning our first awards. This is 2018 in Lyon. I wanted to win this award so bad, so kind of similar to the LMA award. Like, I felt like we really deserved it. I put in every little thing. We were up against Automatic and Newspack, and I remember sitting at the table and thinking, like, maybe it was 2019. I was thinking, all right, don't lose your shit if you don't win. Don't lose your shit. And I was like, and then all of a sudden they were like Broadstreet. And I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, so we didn't expect this, but thank you so much. And I was like, oh, 100% did. But
that's a good look.
What's that?
Just the suit, the pants.
Oh, thanks. I think this is, I don't know, this is thrown together really.
Anyway, I don't believe that for a second.
No, it really was. I had like one nice shirt. I had a jacket that I had from a long time ago, and I guess I don't know. Anyway, so that's Paivon and Kelly Gilflin, who eventually came on as an early customer too. So we moved upstairs. This is our office upstairs. You guys remember that? Tommy used to sit here. off on the left, Steve was the double monitor, and then I was in that back room. And then I guess little Kenny was parked there for the day.
Yeah, there's my shoulder.
All right, and then in the office we're at today. So there we go. All right, so actually, while we're here, I think while we talked about where we came from, let's just talk about 2024 right now, and we're going to look at this picture, this unflattering picture, at least of me, for a little bit, where we talk about what in the world we did in 2024. This is crazy because
right?
Well,
Right.
Kenny, you were right about your prediction. I'm just kidding.
how many?
Don't ruin them. Just don't
look. Don't look.
all right. What in the world happened in 2023? All right, so first of all, last January we got by the way, like throughout this entire year 2023, we're screwing up left and right running a company. Like the fuck ups are just incredible. But what's funny about fucking up, right, is that you don't remember the fuck ups. You never remember swings and misses. You remember home runs. Right? It's always like it's the few successes along the way that are scattered throughout all of the failures that you remember. So I was looking through just like all of our rocks, our company rocks and stuff. I'm like, did we do any of this shit? But so many amazing things happened, right? So first of all, like, and these are mostly things were completely unintended. So we got health insurance, which made us a real company, which is crazy because somehow we had skirted by for a long time, not doing the health insurance thing. And it was one of those things where psychologically, I thought there was so much more to it. Asked around at SAS Academy, thank God for SAS Academy. They were all like Just Works or one other company. And it ended up working out. Adam joined, which is fantastic. He came along with Derek, but like Adam stuck around, and Adam's been a wonderful addition. We're going to talk about everybody in a bit. We acquired Red Bank Green. It was the first time we ever bought a company before, and I learned all about it, and that lawyers get paid entirely too much money and still screw up. And so I might go about it differently next time. But we acquired a company, and I think already the expense of Red Bank Green has been far exceeded by the marketing power that it's given us. So importantly, and this is kind of again, high level, we found out who we were. Or, I think we fundamentally knew, but we got a better idea of who we were. And that's going to come in a little bit. Ran some great webinars, Find and Manage and Pay a Sales Rep. We launched Live It on a Prayer, which is my blog where I post the story of, or talk about the story of Red Bank Green. We kind of discovered some general principles that we follow as a company too in each of our departments, so you guys will see more about that. That was the first 3 months of the year, right? In the spring, for Red Bank Green, we ran Face Off, which is like for all these, like, everybody was running for mayor. That was a big deal. First time Red Bank Green live streamed anything, especially an event like that for Red Bank Green. We won the Local Media Association R&D Partner Award. We got third place. We're shooting for a little bit better this time, first place ideally. We launched ClickHouse, right, which provides all of the analytic power that Broadstreet is capable of, comes from ClickHouse. And this was a massive undertaking. It was a 1.5-year project. Did it have to take a 1.5 years? Probably not. It could have been like 4 or 5 or 4 or 5 months. But like it started out me and Steve pounding energy drinks at 6 in the morning, writing all the code for ClickHouse, and then it kind of got to where it needed to be. Of course, there's some hiccups along the way. It's almost impossible to avoid in software. Importantly, we got these two things. Fucking subpoenas. You ever seen a subpoena before? This is what it looks like. Department of Justice. And yes, I have props. So we got the Department of Justice, and we got Google. Things unimportant. This one's Google. This one's the Department of Justice. And when I was sitting on my desk, I was like, holy shit, what are we going to do about this? But what we did is we posted probably the blog post heard around the industry. Wrote a blog post about how we'd been subpoenaed by Google, and we completely shit on Google the whole way through. And I drew a comic book of Google as this like big, huge Mr. Potter-esque dude at a table eating a giant turkey with all these little puppies around him, who were the publishers, right? And it was signed Kenny fucking Catscrow. And I was sitting where Tommy's sitting on that couch before I published it. And I was like, I was like, am I gonna post? I've never done anything like this before. I've never let this level of authenticity out. It's like it was like a turning point. And I was like, kind of like, at the time I was reading the Steve Jobs biography. I was like, what would Steve Jobs do? Or like, what would really anybody do? And the answer was basically like, do you believe in what you're saying? I was like, yeah. And he was like, then fucking post it. I was like, okay. So then I just posted it. And then immediately it got attention. Bob Sachs put it in his newsletter. It ended up resulting in blog posts and articles and everything around the industry. It got our name out, the word out. It kind of reignited what Broadstreet was in the industry. And it made us someone that it also helped amplify the story of Red Bank Green. So we basically took what could have been a really shitty situation, turned around and made it into a positive. Right. And I think there's something magical in that. And it's like, that's the kind of thing that creates opportunity when you're willing to take even the negative things, all of your fuck ups, and then turn them into positives. So anyway, so apart from that, at the same time, we're trying to hire for the customer service team and kind of talking about like finding out who we are. Like we put together a job description that actually described us as a company. Actually, it wasn't a corporate job description, and we ended up bringing Caitlin on board, which was amazing because not only because Caitlin's amazing, but because it was the first hire without me. It was the first time the team pretty much hired someone, and I didn't really have much involvement apart from writing the job description. We got our first real CRMA session, right? So not a sales session. So at City and Regional Magazine Conference, they allowed us to speak on AI. That was just the spring. I'll go through the next 2 seasons a little faster, but they're just as long, if not longer. Got our first intern. Remember a guy named Matt? Mm-hmm. Seems like ages ago, right? Doesn't it seem like years ago that we had this guy? I don't remember him. What was his name? Yeah, we had the team on site, right? And this is us in Central Park. We were all over the place. We went down to Brooklyn, we went to Times Square. We did the touristy things, but we also did some untouristy things. That in the summer is actually when I did the actual subpoena post, and then we went to LMA. Tommy, what was the thing that I said to you after you recorded the video of our talk at LMA?
You're an actual piece of shit.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Oh my God.
So I asked Tommy to record my talk. It's on YouTube, but he cut off the first 15 seconds, and I went back, and I was like, you got it all right? He was like, I'm sorry, I missed the first 15 seconds. And I think I said it like comically, but it might have come off as very serious.
It was, everyone at the table thought it was hilarious and felt bad for me.
So everyone at LMA, the publishers, I guess, I was like, you're an actual piece of shit. And then I walked away. And yeah, so anyway, it was still a ton of fun because we got a great talk and I ended up running that as an ad. We had our highest MRR month in the summer. It was like the highest of all time. It tends to fluctuate, generally goes up, and we've probably since surpassed it, but it was a nice milestone. Came up with a marketing system, Fuse, right? Formulate, uncover, share, and elevate. So we put together a nice little system so some free Upworkers could do our social media, but we have Katie now, so we don't even need that stuff anymore. But ultimately, everything that we had done up until this point, which weren't even our company rocks, right? It wasn't even intentional. We got blog posts, podcast interviews, newsletters, speaking spots. It was amazing. In the fall, based on ClickHouse, we launched analytics, our new analytics tool, in use by how many customers now? Like 60 something? 70-ish. Yeah, 70-ish, right? And we can open that up to any publishers who really want it. We did our first doorbell experiment, right? So this was like, we made this clickable button that like we installed in an advertiser's place, famously the Lobster Place. So there was a sign that said, if you were here today or in the past because of an ad you've seen at Red Bank Green, click this button. People have done it probably about 5 or 6 times now. And that got a lot of attention because the video that we put together that Tommy recorded, it was actually just kind of fun. Late summer, early fall, we had an amazing webinar that is probably one of our most downloaded lead gen items in a long time. We ran the What's Possible webinar, and like people commented on that and said, Broadstreet is so far ahead of everyone else. First local ad sales at Red Bank Green. I got on the street and actually made our first ad sales. Joe at the Bagel Shop, Vince at the Lobster Place, Chris Havens, the real estate guy, Adam, the Triumph Brewing guy, right? Those just fell into my lap. I didn't even try to reach out to make those happen. And did a good job, and then I could speak to actually selling in local, make some videos about it. And then at the end of the year, we launched Skyline. Adam came up. We did a team camp out. This is Tommy trying to start a fire with flint and steel, right? This is really hard, right? You know, what you have to do is you get a spark into that little black thing at the bottom, that charred cloth, and then you blow on it, eventually you get a fire. In the words of Bruce Springsteen, you can't start a fire without a spark. And I think there's something to, because this is really the way that Broadstreet started out, right? There's this little spark of an idea. We didn't have too many resources. We didn't have any lighter fluid. We didn't just meaning money. And we just kind of got it going and blew on it and blew on it and blew on it until it popped into a little ball of flame, which is what happens. And then you put it on the thing and you put these little sticks on it, right? These sticks are basically like, oh, you know, your first products, your first customers, your first, you know, people to join the team. That's how a fire is built. And then, you know, right now we got a pretty strong fire. The wind isn't putting the shit out anymore. It used to be that the wind could put this out. We can't put it out anymore. Oh. So ripping through the rest, right? We launched some pretty cool features that make amazing ad formats available. Shadow DOM, we did exploding ads that explode with like T-bones and ribeyes and hot dogs and hamburgers. They count. We launched a wonderful life video with Brian. We went to go visit Thomas Edison's factory. I think it was a pretty inspiring experience, right? His laboratory. Like one of the greatest innovators of all time. Talk about Steve Jobs, Ben Franklin. Damn, Thomas Edison. We refined our logo, right? Put together a new logo. It was based on the golden ratio, golden rule. And we sent a letter to the, I think a really tight letter to the end, to our publishers at the end of the year. But in summary, by buying Red Bank Green, we put ourselves in a place where we can build a better product for our customers than anyone else, right? We are in a position to be an authority better than anyone else. And with the mix of engineering, sales, and journalism we have on the team, John Ward and Brian on the journalism side, me and Steve doing the engineering, and also Krivezi, and doing the local ad sales. Like, who else is positioned to make some shit happen in this industry? I don't know anyone else that's better positioned to do it. You name the company, I can't explain how they're better positioned to do it. And importantly, at the very end of the year, like it was meant to be, we got Brian becomes available. Amanda reaches out. TJ reaches out. Katie, we figure out a solution for you. Like, it's just like everything was moving toward this as if it was designed. I'm saying it is. I know it's a little out there, but everything just happened at the right time. And it's at this time, I think we have the best alignment with our core values than we've ever had before on the team. There have been times where we had people on the team where I felt a little uncomfortable, and I think other people, it just didn't feel right. And right now I feel fantastic. I feel like everybody is the right fit. So how did we do all of that? Is everyone tired of hearing about 2023 at this point?
Yeah.
It was so much. Yeah. Yeah, no, there's an outrageous, it was 2 pages. Usually I have a list of like 10, 15 things that we did. There was so much that we did, so much that happened. It feels like January of 2023, when I look at pictures, they feel like years ago, 3 years ago. How in the world did we get 3 years into one? How did that happen? Well, it happened via focus. That we were focused, we actually had goals. We basically said we need to make Broadstreet famous, right? How are we going to do that? And the opportunity emerged, right? We took that subpoena and we said, like, we can turn this into something. Published all about Red Bank Green. We did the outrageous things. We let ourselves free. We're authentic at scale. And we had some focus. Now, it doesn't mean that we were executing on the things that we intended to execute on. And I think that's our next step, right? We've been focused before, but a lot of times on the wrong things. And I think what we need to do is marry focus and execution. So let's talk a little bit about the present. Let's talk about who we are. This is what we put in that job posting. It said we're 10 years into writing a grand underdog story. We're underdogs for a lot of reasons, and all of our customers are underdogs. We're always seeking intrinsically motivated thinkers, creatives, specialists, managers, and misfits. And I kind of like that because I was saying to you, Amanda, and I've said this before, sometimes I feel like we are, in a way, the island of misfit toys. like that all of you are complete weirdos, and given enough time, I'll find the reason that you're a complete weirdo. But I think there's actually something nice in that. What's that? Yeah, no, it's in there. I'll find it. You just give me enough time. But we kind of just put it in there, and I said, like, maintain a dogged, undying pursuit of being really fucking good at what we do. Have you read this in a corporate job post before? Not really, but I just sat in my chair and it came out in like 15 seconds. And then also kind of that, line at the end, we're still getting there. I'm not saying we're really fucking good at what we do, but like I have every intention of getting there 100%. I want to be a shining example of getting there. So we exist to make our publishers a better option for marketing than Facebook or Google. That's kind of why we do what we do. That's fundamentally and practically why we do what we do. What we really do, though, at a higher level, is that we lift up our customers, right? We show them what's possible. We give them hope. We show them a future that they otherwise didn't think was possible. They come to us because they're trying to get to a place and they're hoping we can take them there. We give them a lift on the way there. And by doing that, I think we also, by extension, probably have a very positive impact on their communities. But I've been thinking about this more and more. I don't think there's any higher purpose in this life than to lift up other people who need a lift. Something I'm still kind of thinking and working on, but I have a feeling that's going to develop throughout the year. So today is Ben Franklin's birthday. And he said, do well by doing good, right? You can do good in this world. It doesn't mean that you have to, it doesn't mean that you can't prosper along the way. I think that you can prosper and do great things. And I think if you align those two things, it's really powerful. And I've always said that, like, never start a company to make money, even though that's probably why most people start companies, admittedly, and probably part of the reason that I did too. I'd be like, yeah, I want to be a billionaire, of course. But what you really should do, you should start the company to solve a problem that like gives you purpose, that you're intrinsically motivated to solve. Something that like no external factor could change and like, change your opinion on whether it's worth solving. It's got to be something like you have to follow this purpose. And if you can make money as a side effect, then that's perfectly fine. So I kind of followed Ben Franklin's maxim, do well by doing good. So let's talk about our core values. Optimism. We have no idea. Optimism. Excuse me. Optimism. Who wrote this? I think it was still in there from last year. So optimism. Spelled right this time. So optimism. We have no idea literally what's going to happen in the future. Then we have an idea what's going to happen in like the next month, 6 months. We were just talking about this before. A lot of people take a negative past and project it into the future. It's the wrong way to do it. You have no idea what's going to come. Let's be optimistic, right? Because that's what opens up the opportunities, right? When you're pessimistic, closed off, then you don't have opportunities. There have been times when I had to go to a conference. I was like, I don't want to go. Maybe I'll just sit this one out. And I was like, you know what? Maybe something good's going to come out of it. I go there. I make a connection. Something great happened. I'm so happy I went. That optimism is what creates opportunity. If I didn't go, none of that would have happened. Authenticity. When you are yourself, I wrote this at my letter at the end of the year. When you are yourself, you get comfortable, right? And when you're comfortable, things become easier. That if you can be yourself in a social setting, I think most people can probably relate to this. If you can be yourself in a social setting, you're smooth, everything goes. Right? When you think about your friends that you're closest to, how fluid everything is. But when you're trying to be someone that you're not, or you're trying to impress somebody, then everything becomes harder. You're analyzing yourself, you're being awkward, you're doing. That's just a perfect example of how when you're not yourself, things get harder. If you just be yourself at scale and you're willing to throw yourself to it and say, you know what, this is who I am. And I feel like I just got a taste of that this year with that blog post about the subpoena. Things became easier. There's something there. So authenticity, being who we really are, not trying to be something else, not trying to go with like the trend, and then also persistence. Never giving up. Never like never settling where we are and always pushing to either like solve the problem or to be the best thing that we possibly can be. So we talked about those principles. This is just a reminder. When it comes to marketing, we remind our customers or our prospects of what they already know. Again, just like the best you is deep down in there. All of the things that are important, or the things that like we need to know, or things that we actually already fundamentally know. We say like, treat your customer the way you would want to be treated. Show them something that's just going to get them excited and they're going to want to come on board. Like, we know this, it's so obvious. But sometimes you got to shake somebody and say, no, this is what you should be doing. Stop doing what everyone else is doing. Get back to the thing that you fundamentally know. So we believe that like the most important truths are already deep down, and people already know them. Take them to where they want to go. In sales, like I said, there's a place that they are today and a place that they want to go. It is our job to see if we are the right vehicle to take them there. And if we are the right vehicle, we have a duty to take them there. That's why sales for me a lot of times is easy, because if I can take somebody someplace, I feel like I don't mind following up because I know I'm the right ride. I can take them there. So be the way to a better day. This is on the customer experience side. This is on the customer experience side. So everybody should, after talking to us, have a better day than they would have otherwise, and make work feel a bit like play. On the product side, you should be able to use the product and not, it should be something that is a joy to use. It's doing something that you're continually impressed with. It's polished. So again, we're getting there. And then at the company level, be the company you'd want to work for or with. And I'm playing around, obviously I'm always refining, always trying to make things a little better. I was playing around with the greatest gift can be a simple lift. Plays a little bit into the sales philosophy, but I also like the fact that it rhymes, but I don't know that the right words yet. So let's talk about before we do that, we just talked about core values and our principles. So just the team very quickly. Employee number one, Tiffany, was like, talked about to Tiffany early in the day. It was like, basically, Tiffany, we have an opportunity that when this company is like more than just us, it was like 5 people, 10 people, the culture that we have now, we need to make sure continues on. It needs to be a copy of this, and she's done a fantastic job in doing that. She delivers an A+ experience to our customers, right? Something that I used to do for our customers, that A+ customer service. I almost included it, and I should have. I had a picture of me and Katie, we met at a grocery store, and it used to have this big picture that said customer satisfaction guaranteed. It would hang behind the customer service desk, right? Remember that?
Yes.
Right? And remember the day they told me that they weren't doing that anymore. They said, if you're not satisfied with any product, yeah, they threw it out. I had it in Facebook. I should probably go find, I'll post it in Slack afterward. But there was a sign that said, if you're not satisfied for any reason, we'll give you your money back, right? Satisfaction guarantee. And they said, Kenny, take it down, put it in the dumpster. I was like, really? So I was like, so I took it. It was too symbolic, and I wasn't going to be the guy to deposit this thing in the dumpster. So I put it in my trunk, right? And I left it in my 98 Camry for like years. And finally, me and Katie had gotten married and moved in. I still had it in my trunk, and I took it out and I took a picture of it. I was like, I never want to run a company that thinks like this. So all of this to say is that Tiffany is delivering the kind of experience that our customers really deserve. She's doing a fantastic job. And she also provides the leadership and also the praise that sometimes I fail to give our team. But sometimes I'm so in it, like I forgot to tell everyone they're doing a good job, So I can get very focused on things. So everyone is doing a fantastic job. So next, Steve. Steve is the right hand. Steve is the right hand. He makes so much shit happen, probably so much shit happen without me. Things that I used to do, hopping on calls, like to figure out bugs and stuff like that. Steve takes that off my plate, which allows me to be myself and put out those videos and do the things the CEO should do. He pushes me to do stuff like working on the EA role that eventually resulted in Amanda coming on board. You were the one who pushed me to make that happen. That's a very high leverage move right there. And then also very invested in the entire company's growth, making sure that Amanda, Tiffany, Tommy, everybody's going to SaaS Academy. Adam. Tommy, what a sounding board. Always willing to get deep. An excellent friend to our customers and to me, by the way. You're basically always providing a check on my conscience. And a lot of times when I'm like, how is this video going to come across? How is this blog post going to come across? Like, you're the person who reads it, you and Katie, right? So you provide an immense value that most people wouldn't see, but it's a lot of times just like making sure that I'm thinking about things the right way, but importantly also making sure that our customers are headed the right way too. So Marge making us look cool. Marge makes us look badass, and she does it at an insane speed. We give her so much stuff and she just knocks it out. The breadth of stuff that Marge is capable is outstanding. So Marge is doing a fantastic job, and she writes better code than most developers, me and Steve included. So June is, actually Woody Allen had a quote like, basically if you're pleasant, show up and do good work. That's basically the three things you need, and June does all three of those things. He's shown he can do it time and again, and he has the persistence that is required through tough problems, and he knows how to rise to the occasion when we really need it. We really, really need it. June comes through. So June's been a fantastic part of our customer experience team. Tracy is probably the ultimate team player, pretty much doing like the things that we do. Like the amount of things that Tracy has had to deal with, like with the turmoil in the, not turmoil in the sales team, but the flux in the sales team, like some people being out, some people being available, shifting people around, and Tracy is just like the one constant through all of it. Willing to play the SDR role and, basically set up alley-oops for Adam, and always thinking about the different ways that she can help, and basically helping on the Red Bank Green side. So Tracy is the ultimate team player. And
she published a book, and she's a publisher.
And she published a book, and she's a publisher, and she has a million other things to deal with. And so, yeah, I mean, Tracy's fantastic. So Adam is the definition of our core values, particularly persistence, right? He is on it. He will follow up with you, all right? And he's positive, optimistic, he's authentic. Does anyone think that Adam is anybody but the real Adam except for in Among Us? Among Us is the only time that you get the fake Adam, and he's ruthless. The determination that Adam had in learning the demo, basically in the first 3 months of the year, it was like the progress was insane. It was like week to week, it was getting better and better and better and better. And you only get that if somebody really cares and is really trying. He went from closing, how many sales Adam closed in like Q1? I think it was one. I think it was one Adam. I mean, one sale. One sale. And that actually doesn't speak to Adam, right? That actually speaks to the old way of doing things, right? And once Adam was freed up and we really focused on like learning the demo and all that, now he closes 2 to 3 a week. No problem. Just smashing diet or full calorie Cokes and closing 2 to 3 a week. Caitlin has been a fantastic addition, and really Tiffany can't say enough good things. I mean, almost I'd say like what's it got to be like 30 to 50% of the things that show up on the Good News channel are thanks to Caitlin now. Caitlin is like, I think if we had drawn up who would be a good addition to the customer experience team, we wouldn't have actually even described Caitlin. It would have seemed like out of reach. And then, we put out that job post with saying that we want to be really fucking good at what we do. And Caitlin's like, sign me up. Sign me up. So Caitlin's been a wonderful addition. And then Katie, Amanda, TJ, and Brian. Like I said, we have the best team that we've ever had before. So you guys starting up in January, I can't wait to see what happens next. So let's talk a little bit about the future, talk about the vision. And basically, I think Broadstreet, this scrappy little team, I think we can get to a $50 million a year company. I think we can actually do it. Now, right now, you might be like, oh, well, how are we going to do it? We're like 13 people. Like, we've never run even a $5 million a year company. How are we going to get to 50? Why the fuck not? I remember there was a time when Broadstreet made $0 a year. What qualified me to do any of the things that I wanted to do? It is sheer will. Through sheer will, determination, persistence, we have gotten to where we are today. We have screwed up a whole bunch along the way. But like I said, we're defined by our successes and not our failures. I think we can get there. In fact, I don't think it, I know it. If that's what we want, we can have it. I think that by the time we get there, we should probably be helping at least 10,000 publishers. That we are a beacon in our industry. I think we're already starting to shine our light. It's like off in the distance, in the fog at the night, but like we're that beacon for our customers. And people say, "Now, what is that thing?" Maybe we should start sailing toward them. And importantly, the entire way that we have a fun and worthwhile ride. It should be something that we enjoy ourselves. And I think, by the way, over 2023, did we enjoy ourselves? I think we did. Is this thing that we got going, is this striking anybody as a normal job? It doesn't feel that way. And I think at the end of it, like, I always look at from 100-year-old Kenny's perspective, like, I hope that I had a lot of fun. I hope I did. I'm trying to do all the things I need to do to make sure it's true. And this company, even though at times I probably take it a little seriously, I've gotten stressed out, all the stuff that comes with it. You always have to remember that you did it all for some fun. So one day, every publisher in this country will know about and use Broadstreet in some way. That doesn't necessarily mean they're paying us, but it means they're using our technology. So I think that's really coming, and it's part of our plan. So the impact is that I think that, as we get there, it will give this industry the lift we need. I think we'll learn an outrageous amount. We'll have a ton of fun, and communities across the world will benefit because of us. Right? Remember, it's not just the publisher that we're lifting up and helping. It is by extension their community. Out in Seattle, I talk about it a lot when said we would not be in business if not for you guys, right? It's like 300,000 people that wouldn't be getting news if it wasn't for us. That's crazy. That's 300,000 people who know more about their local government, know more about their schools, more about their businesses because of us. It's crazy. So listen, I know we're this tiny little ad tech company in Red Bank, New Jersey. We're doing outsized things. We always have. That's why people think that we're like a multi-hundred person company. So this year, I want to focus on focus and execution, aligning those two things, like that we are executing on the things that we're focused on, right? We've had focus, but on the wrong things. Good things, but they weren't the things that we intended to focus on. We can execute. We can make shit happen. We need to have those two things aligned. Because if we can do that, we can carve out whatever we want. So in 2024, we're going to focus on 4 things, and we're probably going to do iterations of this in future years. First part is the product. First quarter is dedicated to polishing up the product and making sure it is something that feels like play when you use it. And we're going to get better and better at that. Q2 is all about attraction, launching our free hitchhiker tier, making sure that we draw as many people into the fold as possible, right? So we want to attract people to Broadstreet, keep beating the drum, telling them what we stand for and bringing those people in. Conversion, turning them into customers. So Q3 is all about sales. Q2 is about sales too, but it's really more about marketing as well. And then Q4, 100%, and throughout the year is about expansion. When we bring people in, can we develop the right flow to expand those accounts? There's a really good quote from a guy, somebody that I listened to. His name is Jim Rohn. He passed away a long time ago. But he said, set the goal for who you become on the way. It's not about the thing at the very end. It's about the path there and who you become and who you have to be on the way there. All the things that you have to learn. All the muscles you have to build. So going back to Ben Franklin, do well by doing good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with prospering in the process of doing something good for the world. So I'm going to end on this because I know we are just coming up on the hour. Sorry about that. But with focus, persistence, and execution, will becomes reality. The things that you want, you focus and you persist, you create that future. It really is all within our power. We can do it. If you believe it and we're willing to put the time into it, we can 100% do it. So importantly, never take yourself too seriously. We're all doing this in the spirit of having fun. That's really why we do it. We should never forget that we're on this planet for a finite amount of time. We should enjoy our time while we're here. So that is it. open it up to any questions. Thank you guys for listening to that for 60 full minutes. Not 60 full minutes. I think we started at 2:10, right? Somewhere around there. So that was it.